You're right. We record. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Opinions with Regular Guys. We're back here for another episode here. I'm Frank. This is Mike. And today we're basically all NBA. The play-ins games have happened. The playoffs are actually going on as we speak. We actually even had one game earlier today. So we're in full swing with the NBA playoffs to see who's going to win the NBA championship this year. So let's start out with the play-in games, what you thought your opinion on it, which actually started Tuesday. You had two games that day. You had the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Brooklyn Nets. And the Nets got that one, close. It's a nail-biter for them because they were losing a lot of that game to the Cavs.
Really?
And they actually pulled it out. So, everyone expected the Nets to win. I believe we picked the Nets to win this. But I'm not surprised that Cleveland actually could have won that game. But, we won't get too much into it. But the bottom line is the Nets won. The Nets went on to are going on to the playoffs to play the Boston Celtics in the first round of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And then, do you have any questions about that particular game?
That game right there, I had it all Brooklyn, period. Cleveland's good. They're a surprise team this year and everything. But you got KD and you got King Kyrie on the same team.
King Kyrie and King KD. Is that what you just said?
No, it's KD and King Kyrie.
King Kyrie. Where does that come from? King
Really?
Kyrie.
That's his nickname. Right? You never heard King Kyrie before?
No. King of what?
But anyway.
The face of not getting vaccinated? Seriously.
That is the man's nickname. If you listen to any hip hop tracks or anything like that, you'll hear everyone talk about King Kyrie with the killer hesitation move, But
sorry, I guess I'm out the loop then.
But they pulled that game out. I didn't really see anything about them losing or being in any trouble against the Cavaliers. They looked like they were pretty much in cruise control to me. Like they know how to turn that switch on, and as soon as you turn that switch on, how you gonna stop Kevin Durant? How you gonna stop Kyrie Irving? You need a full team to do that, and Cleveland's just not there yet.
Well, that's that game, and the Nets went on to the first round of the playoffs against Boston. We'll get into that momentarily.
Yep. Game 2 that night was my favorite game.
Clippers versus Wolves.
Yes.
Now, I'll be honest, I did not get to see this whole game because I was pretty tired, and when that came on, from what I saw, it was a pretty close game. But I saw the highlights, and I saw that the Timberwolves pulled it out. They beat the Clippers, and also,
all thanks to Patrick Beverley.
Yes, he was very animated after that game.
He got fined $30,000 for that. You know that?
Well, he should have got fined $30,000.
Why? If you're celebrating because you beat your old team to let you go?
Well, he was acting unprofessional. One in the interview, post-game interview, and his little antics in the back of the locker room, too. So he was just being, he's being classless. But then again, this is a classless player. So
wow.
What else do we need to know? He's a little dirty piece of shit.
Wow.
Player,
that's tough.
But he did get the Timberwolves to the playoffs. Not him. I wouldn't necessarily say him, but the team itself got themselves in the playoffs. He is just one of those attention getters. He's one of those can't really play very well. He can't shoot worth crap. He's horrible. But that team got the Clippers into the playoffs. Got the Timberwolves into the playoffs, so they move on, and they're currently playing the Memphis Grizzlies as we're speaking in the second round. We'll get into that again in a little bit. But this did kind of shock me. I kind of thought that the Clippers would actually pull this off, even with Paul George. But again, I'm not surprised because, as I said before, Paul George can't get his team anywhere. You're going to need to have Kawhi Leonard on that team. So, and it proved me right. And it proved me right even when we get into the next, because the Clippers and the Cavs, because of their seeding, they got a second chance to get into the playoffs.
Yep.
They both, mind you now, both had 2 tries to get into the playoffs. Okay?
Yep.
They both were number 8 seeded teams. Okay? So traditionally they should be in the playoffs. But they lost this playing game against the number 7 teams, and they had another chance of life to get in by advancing to the next round also. So, any particular comments on this Clippers-Timberwolves game?
I mean, again, for me, I watched the entire game. I'm not a Patrick Beverley fan because I think his only job out there is to pester you and get into your head. But there's a lot of players out there that do exactly that, like the Morris brothers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they
You're
just
right,
want to sit and intimidate, get in your face, you know, hit you, nudge you, you know, to get on your nerves, to get your mind off the game. And Beverley did that. He stole the ball twice from Reggie Jackson, to seal that game. So for me, I'm not an LA Clippers fan. I think they are a second tier team behind the LA Lakers, even though the Lakers had the most disappointing season in the past 20 years, in my opinion, this year. But I'm happy to see the Clippers didn't make it either, because all that jazz they were talking, because when the Lakers got eliminated, they thought they were going to go somewhere. But unfortunately, you're not up there either. Sorry, Ty Lue. Yeah, I am happy with the Minnesota Timberwolves winning, a younger team. Cat finally got some shine. You got Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man. Ant-Man is dope. And you got to remember, that game, they targeted Cat. They got Cat out the game.
They sure did.
They got Cat out the game by second quarter?
He had 4 fouls, I think.
Yes.
Was it 3 or 4 fouls before halftime?
Yes, by the second quarter.
And so you figured he's going to be out and that they're done. They were done.
Yep.
But they won and they moved on.
D'Angelo Russell took over.
Yep. So we went to the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So now, as we went now, I'm sorry, before we go over. So the Timberwolves actually become the number 7 seed, and they go on to play Memphis in the first round, while the Clippers have another chance of life to get into the final playoff play-in spot. And then we have Wednesday's games were the Hornets and Hawks, and that wasn't even close. That was completely just we won't even get into it.
That's Jordan's team.
The Hornets played like a number 10 team. And they shouldn't even have been in there. Period. So, and that's what happened. You had the Hawks and you had Trae Young, light their ass up, and there's not really much to say about this.
No.
The Hawks moved on. This was a 103 to 132. It was 132 to 103. It was a blowout. It was a 29.
Where's the candle at?
31-point blowout. So that was worth really mention. The Hawks move on. They become the number 8 seed. They played the next round to play Cavaliers, and then they had the Spurs and the Pelicans. I was really hoping in this game that the Spurs would make it in, see Popovich get that team in, and play the first round matchup. But the Pelicans were just a better team, and they pulled it out, and they end up winning 113 to 103. The Spurs were eliminated. Pelicans move on as the number 8 team to play. I'm sorry, not the number 8 team. They go on to play in the play-in to get into another play-in to get the next to the playoff game. They play those games on Friday. We'll get into in just a second. But did you have any comments about either one of these games? Because the Spurs and Pelicans were more closer game that day. But
I watched all of them.
You know, Hawks and Hornets, I looked at it more. That's nothing to talk about with that one.
So I do have something to say about that. Okay. So aside from you, Frank, you know, we have our own our crew that we all watch basketball. We all talk about it. You know, Anthony that usually makes his guest appearances on our show. You gotta look at Charlotte. Charlotte is an up and coming team, but they're very young and they like to show off a lot. LaMelo Ball is a good ball player, but he's gonna need to calm down all that showing off. This is not and one, you know? And okay, 2, you can get your 25, 30 points, but if you're not involving the rest of your players, because there was a play, particularly in this game, towards the end of the game, they were down like 25 points. LaMelo's dribbling the ball. A fan on the side says something to him. He spots up, shoots a 3, makes it. Now you're down 22 points. He turns around and looks at the fan and he goes, Like, you just did, dude, you only got like 4 minutes left in the game. What are you showing off for? You're losing by 22 points. So that got on my nerves. And the minute he did that, I was done with them. And I was like, all right, Atlanta, you guys deserve to move on ahead.
Well, the game was over at that point, and that's how some of these players are now. They're just.
Where's the heart? Where's the heart? If you're down this much, I'm not showing up. I don't care how many threes I make. I'm down 22. I'm not looking at the fan. I'm not making
That's
gestures.
how bad that is, though.
It's ridiculous. So they deserve to lose that. The Spurs and the Pelicans.
Yeah.
I'm a Lakers fan. Frank knows this. I don't like the Spurs, but I do respect their organization and I do respect their culture, basically. I mean, everyone does their job on that team. I don't see anyone showing off on that team. Greg Popovich rules with an iron fist out there, and they do what he wants. And look at that, a team with no-name players almost had an opportunity to make the playoffs.
And the Lakers didn't.
And the Lakers didn't. And they had all these all-stars on there. You can say that all you want because you know what? I agree with you on that. I have nothing to say. I am ashamed of my Lakers this year. I am ashamed of them. I'm ashamed of LeBron. I'm ashamed of Anthony Davis. Definitely ashamed of Russell Westbrook. I'm ashamed.
Yeah.
I'll get into I have 2 rants today at the end of the show. One will be about Russell Westbrook again, and one will be about Ben Simmons. But let's go on to the next game.
So, with that said, Friday's game was the final play-in slots, which was just last night.
Yep.
And again, we'll talk about the Hawks. They came back from behind to beat the Cavaliers. Because the Cavaliers actually were winning most of that game.
Like 16 points.
Yeah, and you figure they might get in and declare it would be nice for the Cavaliers to get in for the first time since LeBron left that team. And it's nice to see a Cleveland Cavalier playoff team for once without LeBron's name attached to it. But it didn't happen. They came down. That game came down to the end.
Yep.
But the Hawks pulled it out. Veteran team, I guess at this point, which is kind of hard to say. You know, with Trae Young on there, but he pulled off because he had, I think, 6 points in the first half and 30, something like that, 32 or 30 something, over 30 points in the second half of the game, which was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Cleveland just decided to stop playing defense, or he just decided to turn it up. I don't know which one, but whatever the case is, the Hawks end up winning that game, and the Hawks end up being your number 8 seed team in the East, and they're going to go on to play the Miami Heat in the first round of the playoffs, which will begin on Sunday.
Can I please have
tomorrow?
Your prediction? Can I please have your prediction?
We'll get to our predictions. We'll get to predictions when we get there.
I know you love you some Jimmy Butler, boy.
And you got the Pelicans. The second game was, the Cavaliers are eliminated, folks. They are eliminated. Their season is over with.
Yep.
But let's just take this into perspective. There's an up-and-coming team. There's a chance that maybe they won't have to be in the play-in next year. They'll actually win enough games where they'll be the top 6 team, and they won't have to worry about that play-in.
Yep.
That would be they can hold it this time, sustain it, because
Yes.
they were actually a pretty good team, just like the Bulls the first half of the year. The Bulls just happened to win more games in the beginning of the season, and they stumbled in the second half of the season. Cleveland started to stumble well before the first half and kind of stayed that way and up and down, but it wasn't enough. They got into the play-in, and unfortunately they didn't get into the playoffs. But it's still a good sign for them because they're at a play-in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good sign compared to the last 4 years. They've done nothing. Next is the Pelicans and the Clippers. Oh, so disappointed for the LA Clippers. First of all, Paul George didn't play because he has COVID. And so you knew once that was happening, it was probably not going to get a chance against win.
Right.
But they were in the game, and I believe they actually had the lead in the game.
They did.
But it was a little bit too much for the Pelicans. It just came out ready to play. And they really were more hungry for this game. I thought they were the more aggressive team. I thought they really wanted it. I'm not saying the Clippers did it. The Clippers did what they could, but when you don't have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, your top 2 players, I mean, it's a wrap. It's just the bottom line. And they ain't had them and they're gone. So the Clippers are eliminated. They'll have to, lick their wounds and come back next season. Hopefully the Claw comes back. And hopefully, if he does come back healthy, with a healthy Paul George, and Jackson is healthy. We'll see. Key with the Clippers at this point is health. If Kawhi Leonard stays healthy,
which he won't,
then this team can make it to the finals, Western Finals, and play Golden State. But if they don't, then it may be a time for Kawhi Leonard to get the hell out of LA and hopefully come to the Bulls. So with that being said, the Pelicans move on, and they are now your number 8 seeded team in the East.
Yep.
I mean in the West, and they have the privilege to play the number 1 overall team with over 60 wins, the Phoenix Suns, with a I guess a healthy Chris Paul, and their team is 100%. So let's see what's going to happen. So now, do you have any opinion on Micah? Any opinion on the Clippers and the Cavaliers?
So
anything to say about that particular game?
I think you covered everything about the Cavaliers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything else to say about the Cavaliers other than what I said before. Up and coming team. You got some talent out there. Hopefully they'll develop. Them being a top 6 team next season, I don't see that happening.
No, there's a stepping stone for them to be, because they sustained a pretty good start. They just had to maintain it.
Yeah.
Now they got riddled with injuries and COVID, just like all the other teams.
We did too.
Yeah, but they just couldn't sustain it. The
Remember,
Bulls,
we were 1-2 with them.
I know, but the Bulls were able, and the Bulls were more talented, I guess, and were able to sustain it. And probably with a little more veteran coaching staff than Cleveland was.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, Cleveland didn't have the Bulls do have some veteran players on their team. They do have Caruso, they do have DeRozan, they do have Vooch. So they had some veteran players in there mixed up with some younger players. Cleveland's all young players. Okay. So they started hot, but they fell down. Yeah. I think now with this under their belt, I think they have the opportunity and the possibility to be a top 6 team, or possibly even be a top 8 team, and this time maybe get into the playing game, but then finally get into the actual playoffs. Okay. Because I think their ceiling is up. Okay. So their arrow is up. So we can admit their arrow is up. Lakers are down. That's the way I would say it. So I mean, what about the Pelicans and the Clippers?
So the Pelicans and the Clippers.
I know you love this.
So
again,
we're gonna start off with the Pelicans. I'm going to tip my hat. 1, 2, round of applause for the Pelicans. 1. They have the franchise player in Zion Williamson that has not played at all this entire season. Don't even know Zion Williamson. Remember
Who's that?
Remember he was a number 1 pick. He came out of Duke. He was dunking all the time, all over the place, but then he injured his foot. You don't remember him? I think now he's like 330 pounds, but he's still throwing down dunks in pre-games though.
Oh, it's not that one player who played for the Bulls and the Knicks. Who seems to get hurt and doesn't come back?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's his name? Rose? Well, I can't say. Zion? Okay. I don't know. I mean, these guys, they don't play. We don't see them. Anthony Davis, is that what it is?
Street clothes? No, that's street clothes.
Okay.
That's street clothes.
I mean, you can't keep up with some of these players who don't want to play.
So you got to look at a guy that didn't play at all. Their franchise player didn't play at all. They have a first-year head coach. And they started off 1-12. Did you know this? They started off 1 win, 12 losses.
Well, they were under the radar. Well, to me, they were under the radar because the Pelicans, we didn't.
What changed? C.J. McCollum changed. They were a losing team. They got C.J. McCollum on that team, and all of a sudden, everything changed. They got that veteran that they needed, and things changed. And look at that. They clawed their way back, and now they are your 8th-seeded team in the West. I congratulate them for that. That's great. LA Clippers, you're talking about health? Man, when was the last time that Kawhi Leonard actually had a healthy season? I mean, even his championship season, he was hurt. He had a lot of, what's that new thing they call now for new players nowadays?
Load management.
Oh, load management. Forget our fans that are coming out there and spending $500 to come see me play, or the other stars play. Screw the fans. I need load management so I can sit down, so I can perform better, in the playoffs. Stuff like this just did not exist. I understand for some players that are coming back from an injury, you can do this, but fully functional players that are okay, and you just want to, I just want to save their legs or save this. That is crap to me. That is crap. That's bullshit. I'm not a big fan of the load management. And I blame Greg Popovich because he's the one that started that load management crap with Tim Duncan back in the day, sitting him down every other game. You can't play back-to-back games. And then all the other teams started catching on to it. This is a fact. He's the one that started all this, and now it's growing rampant everywhere. Everyone wants to sit down. Everyone's sitting down in their nice street clothes all the time now. And these are stars that are getting $20+ million to play for a team and put them in a winning position. So I have an issue with that. But I'm going to leave that alone. The Clippers, if Kawhi can actually come back and play next year without having to sit every other game like he did before, they might have a chance.
He tore his ACL in the
So did other
It's a near
players.
injury.
Zach LaVine did too. And Paul George is another one. I know he
They
plays
should
hard when
trade
he's
him.
out there. I think
I've been saying
agree
this
with
for
you
the
with
last
that.
couple of years.
I do agree with you with that. Now.
Either, you know,
They can
if
let
the
him go.
Clippers are going to do anything, if they're going to keep Kawhi, Kawhi's going to get you his numbers. Paul George is not a good fit for Kawhi Leonard. And they should trade him. I don't understand why they still keep him around. Trade him. I've been saying that for a long time.
I think they're gonna make some moves with him
But
this year.
So now with all that being said,
Yep.
so now we got the playoff brackets here. If I can pull them up here. So here we got the matchups. So in the let's start off with the tomorrow's games, and we'll go with the series too. Now we're gonna mix match with the East and the West, so we're not gonna go in order of the East and the West. We're gonna go by with the games that are starting up today, and we'll go with our predictions of that series. Starting with the first series of the matchups that happened today. First, now earlier today there was the Utah Jazz and the Dallas Mavericks. Now, the Utah Jazz were the what seed were they? The Jazz. They were number 5. They're playing against Dallas, which is a number 4 seed. The 4 and 5 matchup is always a toss-up most of the time because they're so close together.
Right.
So it's not really it's always not always an upset when a number 5 beats a number 4.
Right.
But in this particular case, you know, it could be because, you know, you had Dallas, who was kind of, I guess, they were kind of favored to win until they got some bad news of Doncic, that their star Luka, their star player,
Pull the cap.
Injury, out for game 1. And
Awesome.
Utah, they have a hungry Donovan Mitchell and a classless Rudy Gobert, and they're ready to play. You know, they came to play today, and they actually pulled. I say pull an upset because without Luka,
Doncic is a different.
it's done.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a bad game because it was only a 6-point game. So Dallas pulled it off. Utah pulled it off 99-93.
What does that tell you? Does that give you like any good signs going forward for Utah with a team that didn't even have their star player? They only won by 6 points.
And also, Utah is also missing one of their star players who didn't play at all this year. Was it Murray?
Oh, Jamal Murray.
He hasn't played since last year. And that's a lot of points. He didn't play at all this year. So, you know, that's good. That's good. But we'll see what happens if Luka does play the rest of the series. But what kind of Luka are you going to get? But anyway, in this series, though, beforehand, you know, we wanted to get into the predictions. This series, it's a toss-up to me. So I really didn't have a favorite on this one. I would just say that if Luka is not going to play, and they're already down 1-0, or down 0-1, should I say, I think if he doesn't play, what are you going to get when he comes back? So that's the question mark. I think Utah's going to win this series.
Yep.
And if Luka doesn't play or is not 100%, I don't think it's going to be a close series. I think it might be, some games might be close, but I think overall this may be a sweep of 5 games. What do you think?
Well, for one, that injury, when you look at a calf muscle pull in the NBA, it generally takes 3 weeks for that, like minimum, for that to be for you to feel better. This man they're already talking about him coming back for game 2, which I don't think he's gonna play game 2 because I've pulled my calf before, and it's really tough to run, pivot, stop on a dime with that because it feels like your calf is literally tearing open. So this game or this series with Luka being hurt, it's a wrap. Utah is gonna take that as long as they stay healthy. As long as Mitchell stays healthy, then Utah's winning this series. That's my prediction for this series going forward.
Okay. So now the game that's actually happening now as they're taping this is
Minnesota
and Memphis.
Yep.
And so with this series, of course, with the high that Minnesota has for beating the Clippers to get into the play-in, you know, I actually have Memphis winning this series. Minnesota's had a good season, but they're a number 2 seed. Let's just be honest. They're playing against a number 2, second best or third best team in the whole league, I think, in the Memphis Grizzlies. and you're gonna have John Morant coming back, and he's killing it. The last I saw, he was killing it. So I believe that Memphis will win this series. Games wise, it was a pretty close game when I last saw it. I don't know what the score is now.
Right now, they're up. Minnesota's up 7. It's 104, 111.
So, Grizzlies can still pull it off, and even if they don't, they could still win the series. They could still win it. I don't see Minnesota doing that much, but I got Memphis winning this series. Maybe 5, maybe 6 games, but I got Memphis winning it.
Okay.
John Morant's gonna be too much for them, and they're gonna come back. Even if it's an upset today, even if they lose today, they'll come back and win it. It's only 1-0, so get best of 7 guys. So I believe that they'll win it. And Minnesota, good team, up and coming team. I think Beverly is a piece of shit. I think he's a classist bum. But the rest of that team is good. So I as an up and coming team, hopefully they can sustain it, because Minnesota hasn't been in the playoffs, God, only 2 times since Kevin Garnett left almost 20 years ago.
Right, big ticket.
So we'll see. If Minnesota wins, they win. But I got Memphis. I think Memphis is a better overall team.
So you always like to say, the regular season's a regular season, and the playoffs is a whole new season.
Yes.
Memphis is not a number 2 team to me, because that season's over. This is the playoffs now.
Golden State should have been in that spot.
I agree.
I
agree. Had Steph Curry been healthy all the way through, I agree. I think that they would have been a higher seeded team. But Memphis Grizzlies, no disrespect, I love me some John Morant, and he is a lot to handle. But at the same time, he's one man. He's going to get his calls. The other youngsters that are on that team, that are 20, 21 years old on that team, they're not going to be getting calls against Anthony Edwards. They're not going to be getting calls against Cat. They're not going to be getting calls, against Patrick Beverly or D'Angelo Russell. I have the Minnesota Timberwolves beating the Grizzlies in 6. That's my opinion on that, because they're a better rounded team than the Memphis Grizzlies. They're a better equipped team for the playoffs than the Grizzlies.
Mm-hmm.
Next game.
Well, so you have the Grizzlies winning. Okay, that's fine. I got you.
Yep.
All right, so the games that are coming on soon is the Raptors and the Sixers, with the Sixers having home court advantage.
That's a good game.
And this matchup actually is your it's your 4 or 5 matchup in the East, with of course Philly having home court advantage. Now, this is an interesting series in a way. I shouldn't say series, but this is an interesting playoff run for Philadelphia, of everything that they've been through. But I'm focusing on particularly one player on this Philadelphia team. Not Embiid. It's James Harden.
The beard.
Because year after year after year after year after year after year, this guy gets in the playoffs and he that's what happens. Every year, he doesn't show up at all. Bad games. You cannot have bad games in the playoffs if you're going to be a star player, And this guy, year after year after year after year after year after year, is the same thing. Same record being played.
Okay.
He chokes in the playoffs. Let's just call it what it is. He chokes in the playoffs. So this season, you have Embiid, the NBA scoring champion for this year. Right at not even at the prime of his career yet. You have him here and all the other players they got there. And you're 20 games over 500. You're playing against a Toronto team. Now, I think that he probably will have a good series. This series, I do believe that Philadelphia will win this series. I don't think it's going to really even be that big of a deal. It could go 6 games, but we'll see. I think it's going to go 4 games to 5 games. I think Philly is going to beat them, but we'll get more into Harden. He better have himself a damn good series. They better put Toronto away quick and get rid of them and move on, because they're going to play the winner of the Miami Atlanta series. So, I'm sorry, the Atlanta-Miami series. They're going to play that winner. So, and that is when we'll see what is going to happen with James Harden. But you know what? I can't even say anything right now about that because James Harden, we got to see what he can do in this first round of the East series because we know his track record and it's not good. So maybe they can escape without him with Embiid if he's a Superman somehow and then wins them the series. If Harden has a shitty series like he usually does in the playoffs, but we'll see. But in this series overall, again, I got Philadelphia winning the series. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I agree with you with who's going to win this. Philly's definitely going to win this. If they do, they got some work to do. Like, really. They're going to have some work to do because right now they look very dominant. You got Joel Embiid, scoring champ. Congratulations to him also. James Harden. You went pretty deep on him. And
I'm not talking about his regular season. I'm talking about his playoff career.
I don't think he deserves all the criticism that he gets.
In the playoffs?
Because for one, we're talking about year after year after year after year. I get it. Because I was expecting him to win a championship with Houston. Maybe about 4 years ago when he was with Chris Paul. I was expecting that win. But guess what? Every time he gets paired up with somebody, that somebody somehow seems to get hurt in the playoffs. And this man has to carry the entire load by himself. Yes, he's a great shooter. Yes, he's a great playmaker. But man, if you double this man every single play of the game, he's going to have to start looking elsewhere. He looks elsewhere. Those other guys break shots. They're not making shots. They're not doing anything, or they're airballing. I don't blame that. I don't place that blame on James Harden. He went to Brooklyn. He was not getting along with Kevin Durant. I thought he had an issue with Kyrie Irving, but through
how are they getting along with Durant? They played with each other in Oklahoma City.
Everything that I've read so far, they said that they had beef and they weren't talking. And as soon as Harden expressed that he wanted to go, Kevin Durant told him, "Go ahead, trade him away. We need somebody, we need somebody else on the team that we can count on." And guess who they got? They got Ben Simmons.
They can count on him.
He's still sitting down, but hey, I did see him throwing out some dunks today, though.
Anyway, you'll get into him.
We'll get to that. But look,
talk about active players.
This man is putting up 21 points per game, and 10 assists per game, and 7 rebounds per game.
But can he do that? He has to do a little bit more than that in the playoffs. You got to step it up in the playoffs.
We're talking about a double-double that this man is.
And he needs to put more.
Averaging.
He's going to need more than 21 points and 10 rebounds in the playoffs. They're going to need 25 to 28 points. They're going to need about 12 rebounds. They're going to need that man to put up a triple-double.
But he's putting up better numbers than what Ben Simmons was putting up, for sure.
Well, they're going to have to put up a lot more.
10.
But they lost a lot, but they have to pick up the scoring. Okay, look at this. Philadelphia, you know what they lost? And I know you don't want to say this.
Go.
When they had crappy Ben Simmons, not last year, the year before that, okay? Because you notice they didn't go anywhere. They have not been doing much, I guess, since Jimmy Butler left that team because you had 2 legitimate scorers.
Yes.
You had Jimmy Buckets.
Yes.
You had Embiid. And then you had Ben Simmons back then who wasn't doing shit except making bad shots, can't shoot worth a damn. They want to give him his average defense. And he has a few rebounds here and there. But the guy can't shoot at all. So now you have another player who can put up over 25 points a game, and which is Harden. Harden was one of the leading scorers for many years. In the top 4 or 5 in the leading scorers in the league.
Yes.
So it's not like he's not capable of putting up those type of numbers. You have to put up more numbers in the playoffs. You're averaging 21 this season. That's great. But in the playoffs, you need to average about 28. Embiid's going to put up over 30 in the game.
I'm sure he will be.
So you're going to need to step it up and put up over 20. Okay? And we don't even know if Ben Simmons is going to play. But anyway, who do you got in the series?
In the series, I got Philly.
In how many games?
I got this happening in 5 games, actually. I think Toronto is going to steal a game. Okay. We still can't count out Pascal Siakam. Okay?
That's another thing. Siakam.
We cannot.
He's probably not going to play.
Why is he not going to play?
That was a nasty injury he had the other day. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong team. I'm sorry. Oops.
You were talking about Clint Capella.
Yeah, Capella.
Okay,
I'm sorry, wrong one.
No,
sorry, folks.
He's fine.
No, Toronto. All they got really is
Fred VanVleet. and Pascal Siakam, and you can't count out OG Anunoby.
We're talking a 7-game series, though.
But
There's a 7-game series, yes.
Philly's gonna take them.
Yeah.
That's done deal.
I mean, that's the thing about the playoffs, because in the regular season, you're playing a different team every day. Now you're playing a series.
Yep.
So it's a little bit different. I don't think Toronto's going to be around long in the
All
series.
right.
Just my opinion. But, so we'll move on. So the nightcap tonight is the number 3 Western team, Golden State Warriors, at home against the number 6 Denver Nuggets.
Nicola.
So, in this round, no surprise to me, Golden State has had the rest. They got all their players back, as I mentioned on our last show. Oh, by the way, Steph Curry's playing, folks. He's playing in this game.
He's back.
So now they're 100% together. Now you're going to see the Warriors in the playoffs as we're expected, and this series might take the Golden State maybe a quarter to get things together, but I don't see them having a problem with Denver at all. This game, this series is going to go 4-5 minimum, maximum.
I
5.
disagree.
And no doubt about it. Don't get me wrong, the Joker is going to be good. He'll probably put his numbers up because I believe Golden State's not so big in the middle, but there's too many weapons that Golden State has. And yeah, you can give the Joker his, but that's about it. This is gonna be 4-5 games, 5 max, and that will probably that game that Denver does get will probably be a giveaway game, which is usually game 3 or game 4, and that's it. I don't really have anything to say except the Golden State is back, baby.
Okay.
The Warriors are back.
So I'm gonna tell you what I feel.
They got that core back: Draymond Green,
That's all right.
Curry, and Steph, and you got Wiggins. Oh man. And they're role players too. Oh,
You forgot about Poole.
yeah. As I said, he's a role player.
Poole is a great. Damn,
He's a role player.
That man held the team together this year.
He's the role player for those other 4.
Okay.
So again, that was I tell you. So again, this team, they're ready and primed for the playoffs, and they rested too. They're not an old team. They're a veteran team with championship experience. And I told you from the get-go, watch out. Watch out. Golden State's going to have a year. Again, they're going to come out of this series just fine. 4 games, 5 games maximum. And that's all I got to say. Denver is not a bad team, don't get me wrong, but they're not in the class of Golden State. And they're not going to beat Golden State either. Maybe 1 game. That's about it. But no disrespect to them, but they're just not on the level of Golden State. Go ahead.
You know what that laugh is? That's the Joker's laugh.
Okay.
You know what's gonna happen?
What's gonna
The
happen?
Joker's gonna put it on them.
Okay.
No
What
one's
about
gonna stop
everybody
them.
else?
No one is going to stop the Joker.
Okay, that's fine.
No,
They'll give him his 30 points.
Now,
what about everyone else?
What was Golden State's record versus the Denver Nuggets this year? I think the Denver Nuggets won 3 out of 4 of those.
This
games
is the
this year
playoffs. It's a new season.
because they couldn't stop the Joker.
Okay. They don't have to stop him. Who else do they got? Who else is?
You got Aaron Gordon.
They'll shut him down.
You got Will Barton.
They'll shut him down.
Oh my God, man.
Barton.
Yes. How do you think that they made it where they
You know,
are right now?
Klay Thompson. You ever heard of him?
He's gonna get D'd up.
Okay. No. He's also a defender too.
He's gonna get
So-
D'd up.
So those guys on Denver, I'm sorry.
You know what's gonna happen? His knees are really gonna get put to the test.
Boy.
Klay Thompson's knees are gonna
Here
get
we
put
go.
to the test, and I will be watching it. I'll be watching it.
Okay. Yes, of course
And
you
then
will.
two, you've got Steph Curry that's coming back. And when's the last time he played? Like what, 2-3 weeks ago to rest his ankle? About a month ago, actually. It's actually been a month since he played.
I'm sure he's
And
been
then,
practicing.
and then somehow he's gonna come out today.
Yes, it's
And he's gonna
playoff
play
time.
all 36
He's not going to say he's playing all
and
36
he's
minutes.
going to be making all his shots. Steph Curry historically takes 2 to 3 games before he gets back to being back on Curry status again. He's going to be chucking up a lot of threes. He's going to be missing threes. He's going to be getting stripped today. Watch my predictions. Matter of fact, I promise you guys that we will do a show on Tuesday. By Tuesday, we'll have a result of some of these games here, and we'll talk about it. We'll be able to talk about what Steph Curry really did on his comeback game today.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see what Klay Thompson Mr. Walk around with my head down because I'm disappointed with my game all the time now. We're going to see what he's going to do with that. Draymond Green is not the young man that he was before, jumping up and down and running up and down. He is not that man anymore. I get it. They were
What
legendary
about
for their
Wiggins?
time.
What about Wiggins?
Come on, Wiggins disappeared after the All-Star break. He was an All-Star, and after that, he just disappeared. Everyone knows this.
Poole.
So Jordan Poole will come out and he will do the business. I like Poole.
Mind you, Mike really hates the Warriors.
I don't like the Warriors.
He despises them very much.
I don't like them because they're a team that was put together. They're basically a super team that was put together.
No, that the core of their team was drafted by those players. Were drafted.
Thank you, Mark Jackson. Thank you, Mark Jackson, for putting this team together and giving.
Good job. He's kept them together.
And let Steve Kerr run.
That wasn't his choice. The owners fired him.
Thank you, Mark Jackson.
Well, anyway, you didn't mention it. You didn't say your prediction on the series.
Oh, so this series?
Yes.
I'm definitely going with the Nuggets.
Okay. Now that's your heart. What is your head telling you?
My head tells me that no one's going to stop the Joker. My head tells me that the Warriors are too small for the Nuggets.
How many games?
And I have this going 6 games.
Okay.
Denver Nuggets.
All right. So we got we got the first games of today and the predictions. Now we have a slate of games tomorrow. Another 4 games tomorrow.
Yep.
Starting with the
boom. Oh well, that's a start.
The Atlanta Hawks, the number 8 seed, traveling to the number 1 Eastern Conference team record-wise, the Miami Heat, with Jimmy Buckets, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler, we need a hero, are taking on Trae Young
What's
and
that
the
smell?
Atlanta.
You smell
Hawks.
that? You smell that upset? It smells like upset season.
I don't think so.
I see Trae Young putting it on the Heat.
We'll go right ahead.
I see Trae Young putting it on the Heat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Jimmy Butler staying healthy. Jimmy Butler's going to be hurt by game 2. Watch my words. Oh, my leg. Oh, my hamstring. I need to sit down. My ankle. Tyler Hero, hopefully you get to stay in the game because if you two guys are out, bye-bye, Miami. Bye-bye. Thank you for your number 1 seed. It's a whole new season now, buddy. It's over for y'all. I got Atlanta winning this.
Okay, and what do you got the predictions in?
Games? This will be done in 6 games also. Okay. I see Miami sneaking out 2 games. Jimmy Butler will have like 1 good game. Hero will have 1 good game. After that, Bam Adebayo. Really? Nothing in the playoffs. He does nothing in the playoffs. He's great in the regular season. He gets those blocks. He does all that. In the playoffs, he disappears like the Invisible Man. Disappears. They got nobody else. Duncan Robinson, he's not that playoff guy. He fell off last year. So 6 games. I got the Hawks surprising the Heat and moving on.
All right. Well, I disagree with you 120%. I don't have it anywhere for the Hawks winning this series at all.
I can't wait.
First of all, Miami is not Cleveland, so you're not going to be upsetting them like that.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler is back.
For how long?
You have Jimmy Buckets. You have Tyler. We need a hero. And a Bob. But you know who you're forgetting? You're forgetting Kyle Lowry, who has championship experience in the finals. Jimmy Butler, finals experience going to the NBA Finals. Are you kidding me? So is Tyler Hero. This is a veteran team that is experienced. I believe Atlanta is not a very good team.
Woo!
They snuck into the playoffs at number 8. Let's be honest. There's a reason why they're a number 8 seeded team. So they're a very disappointing team. Trae Young is a great player. Don't get me wrong. Give the man his credit. But what's that other player? Collins. He's not playing, is he? No. Or is he going to play? Is he out? No, he had a big playoff series last year.
He's playing.
No, he didn't play in the last play-in game, so I don't know if he's playing tomorrow or not.
I'm sure he's going to play.
But I guess that's a game time decision. If he plays, it might be a little bit closer, but not that much. Overall, I got Miami that is going to win this series.
Even with Clint Capella hyperextending his knee, he's going to be back. It's a minor.
He's not playing tomorrow, so I don't expect him to play. With that being said, it doesn't even matter. It's not going to even matter anyway.
Okay.
Miami is going to win this series. 5 games, maybe. Trae Young will get his 30 points, but they'll probably shut him down at some point. I don't see them going anywhere. Miami's going to win this series, and let's just be honest, it's going to be your typical 1-8 series where sweep or 5. And that's all I got to really say about that. Even though Mr. Hater here, the Jimmy Buckets, don't want to give him credit, he's going to show up in the playoffs like he always does. Mm-hmm. Next, we have the second game of tomorrow's slate of playoff games is the number 7 Brooklyn Nets with their full squad of Kyrie and KD, going to be playing against the Boston Celtics with Brown and Tatum.
Yep.
Now, Boston, let's give them a little bit of credit because I'm not a Boston Celtics fan. I do not like that team. I never liked that team. I don't like Boston. But I will give the credit where credit's due. I'll give respect where respect is due. This team got their shit together a little bit before the All-Star break because they were on a downswing. And they were like number 10, I believe. Mm-hmm. And they bounced themselves up and had a nice streak. They were doing this while the Bulls were doing this. And I hate to say it.
It wasn't just the Bulls.
But what I'm saying, a lot of teams, the teams that were high at the beginning of the season were starting to fade away at the end of the season. And Boston, which started slow at the beginning of the season, rose to the top. And, for the last week, almost the last week of the season, they were number 1 almost, I think, just before the season ended.
Yep.
So they are your number 2 seeded team. They're playing Brooklyn. However, that's where it ends, folks. This series, I normally do not pick a lower seeded team like a 7 to upset a top seed team, but the East is wide open, and Brooklyn actually did have a decent record at the beginning of the season. They were number 1 for the first month, I think, of the season, and then they got hit with injuries, and then Kyrie didn't play the whole season, the James Harden issues. So they end up stumbling down the stretch there, but they're a veteran team, players put together, but it's a veteran team. And so I think now that you got Kyrie playing all the games, and you have Durant's going to be on his game, so we got to mention him. He's going to get his.
Yep.
This team is poised to, and this is an upset. I got Brooklyn winning this series, even with or without the bum, Ben Simmons, playing. Because there are rumors, I'm sure you're getting your rant, but just to get in a little bit here, there's been reports that he is practicing with the team, which means he's probably going to be playing sometime in this series. I would probably say game 3 or game 4 when they're in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. He'll probably make his debut. Big term, we got to pamper him. So he can play at home. Mm-hmm. And we got to cuddle him and hold him and make sure he's okay in front of our dearly great New York, Brooklyn fans, and let's make sure he's very well protected so we can have a very good debut, even if he messes up and has a crappy game because he hasn't played in over a year or in about a year, but it's not going to matter because his dismal numbers and whatever he's bringing is not going to make a difference.
Right.
I got Brooklyn winning this series. I'd say I don't think it's going to be easy. I'm going to say 6 games. It could even go 7. It could go 7, but in all, I got Brooklyn overall winning this series over Boston Celtics. What do you guys say about this?
I mean, I got you on that also. I give Boston full credit for coming from being from the bottom, from being from the mud to being to the top. I give them their credit. Jason Tatum stepped it up. He's putting identical numbers as Kevin Durant, 29 points per game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, a block. I mean, he's putting up spectacular numbers. Those are the exact same numbers that Kevin Durant is putting up.
Durant's numbers are slightly better because he's putting up 30 a game. He's putting up more rebound. He's putting up less than a half a rebound. He's putting more assists. He has more blocks. Durant's an overall better player. He's a better shooter than Durant. Yeah. But go on. I'm sorry, I digress.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Durant's a better shooter than Tatum. He's an overall better player than Tatum. We know this.
Tatum just claimed that he feels like he's the best player in the world.
He's not the best player in the world.
He just said he was the
can
best
say
player
whatever.
in the world.
That's for his confidence, but we all know better. Everyone knows that Kevin Durant is the top one of the top best players in the league. Tatum is not in that class.
Those numbers they say a little different.
That numbers does not tell me that. Kevin Durant's numbers tell me he is the top. Was he a top 3 player, top 4
Most
player
definitely.
in the league? Tatum is not. Do you put Tatum in the top 15?
Yes.
Okay, but not a top 5.
Top 10.
Anyway.
I'll
What do
give
you
him
got?
top 10.
So what do you got this series going? What do you think?
So,
you think is gonna happen?
So for
here?
that, I got Brooklyn winning. This will be hard. It's not going to be a cakewalk for Brooklyn. I think this series has the potential to go 6 or 7 games.
Okay. All right.
With Brooklyn being on top.
Okay. All right. So moving on. We may get into this a little bit here. It's our hometown Chicago Bulls taking on the defending NBA champion Milwaukee Bucks. This is at 5:30 tomorrow on TNT. And Bulls number 6 seed stumbling into the playoffs down the stretch here while Milwaukee is a little bit hot. Milwaukee is not as high as everyone thinks. They cooled off a little bit, but still they're not they didn't come and stumbling into the playoffs. They actually solidified their spot. It's just Boston and Miami having to pull off these better records. But I will say this, I actually take that back. Milwaukee, they tanked it. They tanked that last game to get down to the 3rd seed. So I don't like that. But whatever. You know, I hope, and I really do hope the Bulls can just come out, because they've been well rested, come out on a revenge and say, you know what, you beat our asses badly in the regular season, 4 games. We're going to come out there and blow you out in your own building tomorrow afternoon, and we're going to set a statement. We're going to blow you out in your building in front of your fans, with all your players on the court, and we're going to blow you out in the playoffs and show you this is a new season, and we're going to take it to you. I hope that happens. Now, what I think will happen is unfortunately the opposite. Even though I want my Bulls to win, I have to be realistic, and I'm going to go with my head, not my heart. And I'm going to go with the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, I don't think it's going to be a sweep. I think the Bulls could get 1 game, maybe 2, but it won't be a sweep. But I really hope that I'm wrong. I mean, but you have to dethrone the champs. Milwaukee's the champs. You got to beat them 4 in 7 games. You got to beat them 4 times in the series. Until a team does that, they're the champions. So, could the Bulls do it? They did it before. They did it with Miami over a decade ago with Shaq and Wade when they beat the Bulls in the playoffs the prior year. Miami won the championship. The Bulls played in the playoffs the following year and swept them out the playoffs. So it is possible. But I don't think it's going to be that way. I got Milwaukee in the series. What do you got, Mike?
Well, unfortunately, I have to agree with you again. I got my Bulls hat on. I love my Bulls, but man, the Bucks were very confident in tanking so that way they could play us first, because they know they have the best chance of going through us to make it to the second round. And unfortunately, it's the truth. They are the world champs. It sucks that we have to play them first, in my opinion. I was hoping to maybe see Atlanta or maybe Boston, one of those teams. But man, the Bucks, you got Giannis out there, you got Middleton. They got a squad. I mean, we got a squad too. But I'm also going to throw in what I've noticed all season long. The refs are always going to be the X factor of the game. They will be giving Milwaukee a lot of calls where we're going to be getting smacked up and not be getting calls. So I think the Bulls are going to pull out 1 game. I think this is going to go 5 games. If it goes 6, we're lucky. But this will be a 5 games. Unfortunately, the Bucks will win this. I can't even go with my heart, man. I can't even go with my heart because I already know what's going to happen here. LaVine, he looks like he was healthy. I saw him trading yesterday. DeRozan's going to be coming out. His mentality. He's out there to win. Caruso is going to be sharp. Patrick Williams will be back out, and I think he'll be competitive, but it's just not going to be enough for the Bucks. So Bulls lose. Sorry, I love you guys, but I don't see it. Prove me wrong. How about that? Prove me wrong. Go ahead and beat them. If you guys can beat the Bucks, I'll have your back on the second round.
Well, I've been saying this for the last few episodes now. I think the Bulls are tired. I think they're
They got a
worn
week
out.
off.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's a long, grinding season. And the record speaks for itself. They have a horrible record since the All-Star break. We went over this nauseum the last couple of episodes that they just don't have.
It's a blowout.
They just oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Sorry. There was an upset today.
Upset.
Memphis Grizzlies got
Destroyed.
I don't want to say blown out.
Hey,
It's
come
only a
on.
13-point game. But they did give up 130 points to 117. Anyway, so Timberwolves are up 1-0. So they gained home court advantage. That happens. But anyway, back to the Bulls temporarily here. I just think they're tired. And this is their first team together. Like this team is the first year they're put together. The injuries, plus COVID and all the lingering injuries, they don't have everyone together still. You know, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
And I hope we're wrong. I hope the Bulls do win this series. It would be nice. It would be nice. But the way we're looking at it, I hope I am completely wrong because I want the Bulls to win. You don't know. I do not like Wisconsin teams. And I hate it when these damn Wisconsin teams be beating up my Chicago teams. And so I would want the Bulls to beat Milwaukee. I hope they do. But I had to go with what I believe has had to happen. And you're right. There might be some questionable calls, I'm pretty sure. But I'm not going to use that. The Bulls put themselves in this position because if they won enough games, they wouldn't have to play Milwaukee at all until later on, not in the first round. If they would have beat New York, the Knicks, a few weeks ago, if they would have beat Houston earlier in the season, you know, games like that, the games that you should have won, you should have won. You know, and you wouldn't be in the position that way. You would have had a little bit of breathing room and maybe played Boston in the first round. You know, but it is what it is. So moving on, we have the last game
this is
of
gonna be very short.
the last game of the first round playoff cap on tomorrow night is going to be the number 8 New Orleans Pelicans against the number 1 overall best record in the NBA, Phoenix Suns, with home court advantage throughout the playoffs as long as they stay in the playoffs. And I see you going emotionally with the sweep, and you're not going to get a disagreement with me. I believe this is going to be a sweep, and I will be very, very surprised if they lose one game.
For real.
Okay? Now, Phoenix should not have a problem with this matchup.
No.
They should be able to pretty much cruise right on the long end. They have a lot of rest. They're going to have the longest rest out of everyone because they get the night game tomorrow, and they haven't played since this time last week.
Yep.
So they have a whole week for an aging Chris Paul to get healthy, you know, for Devin Booker, who has a little bit of nagging injuries there. You know, I got Ayton. Is that his name? Ayton? He's has a little, Ayton, whatever. You know, you got him together. So this is probably, and I wouldn't be surprised, folks, this is a blowout every game.
It will be.
But this is going to be your typical best team in the league versus the team that barely got in, which the Pelicans had to play two games to get in. So they're already at 84 games if they played the regular season games already. And they're on to play on the road for the next 2. And they played on the road the last 2. So really, they're just on fumes at this point, probably. And Phoenix is going to eat them apart, and this is not even going to be close. So not much to say. 4-game sweep. Phoenix advances to the second round.
I agree. I ain't got nothing to say about this. We all know what's going to happen here. I'm happy for the Pelicans, but this is going to be a sweep. And I have Phoenix winning by an average of 12 points per game.
Okay. Well, with that being said, there's 2 things I think you wanted to mention.
Yes. So we're going to go back to Ben Simmons. So we did see him dunking and shooting the ball around, and they said that, you know, his ruptured disc in his back, or his herniated disc in his back, is feeling a little bit better. So they're saying that he might be back by the 4th game. Why is he still sitting out? That's my main question. Why is he still? I don't think this man has a herniated disc. I've been around folks that have had bad backs, herniated discs, and the way he's walking upright without any kind of strap on his back, without anything, him jumping up and dunking the ball, that doesn't look like a herniated disc to me. It looks to me like Frank was just saying, they're just cuddling him on along, pampering him, making sure that his confidence is up. They're gonna have him start off in a home game, of course, where the fans will cheer him on. But what I wonder about that 34% free throw shooting percentage. I really wonder about it. 34% free throw percentage. If I'm his opponent, I am hacking him every single chance I get. Prove it. Prove that you can.
I don't mean to interrupt you on this, but back in the day, we used to make fun of Shaq, who couldn't make a free throw to save his life. And this man is over 50, like 54 something like percent.
Yes.
And you just say 37%?
34%.
And you're an NBA player.
Yes.
And you're shooting 34% from the free throws. I'm sorry, I digress. Go ahead and continue.
I mean, that's sad.
That is sad.
It's a lot to give up to have the 7-foot wingspan, to play defense and to be able to pass the ball like he does. It's a lot to pay because this is his weakness. This is his weakness. If I'm any other coach, as soon as he steps foot on the floor, tap him, smack his leg, put him on the free throw line. Show us that you can do this. Show us that you can do this, because I guarantee you the minute he misses his first 4-5 free throws, he's going to be sitting right back on that bench as if he had his street clothes back on again. Because they're not going to put him in. He's a liability. Offensively, he is a liability. And you need that offense. So if I'm losing by 5 and I start hacking this guy and he's missing free throws and I'm scoring while he's missing, guess what? I'm back in the game. You think the coach is going to let him stay in for his mental stability? No, he's trying to win a game. So he's going to take his bum ass out, sit down on the bench. Maybe you need to practice free throws instead of dunking. And we know you can dunk. You're almost 7 feet tall. Why are you even bothering to do that in practice? Shoot a free throw. I haven't seen anything like that yet. So for you, dude, man, I don't think he's even going to be on this team next year. I'm sorry. I think he's going to be dealt away, because I can see the look on Steve Nash's face whenever they ask him. He's always scratching his head, looking away, talking about Ben Simmons. Because I'm pretty sure something else is happening more than what they're leading us to believe. And I think he's going to be gone next year. Who's going to pick him up? I don't know. Who wants to have him as a liability on the free throw line? I don't know. But we'll go on from there.
Well, I don't really got much to add to this, because I think I already said enough of him.
Yep.
I'll go on saying it. I think I mentioned this before. Like, watch, all of a sudden his back is not hurting so much, and he can practice with the team and end up playing
dunking the ball.
No surprise there. This guy's an actor. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's an actor.
Yep.
I'll say it. If you're not, you're a phrase. I don't care what those reports say. This guy's not injured at all. His head is injured. He's just, his pride is injured. His heart is injured because he's too, he's too soft. So he's not going to play.
Yep.
He's just very soft.
Softer than baby shit.
Yeah. He's pathetic. Yeah, pathetic free throw shooter. Pathetic shooter overall. You got to be babied and cuddled and carried and held, and I need my support. The hell is wrong with you? You're an NBA player and you act like that. I don't know. Brooklyn, you're stuck with them, I guess. They probably can't get rid of him. I mean, in my mind, how is any team gonna want him? I was saying before, why would any team want him? Oh, that counts to be playing in the game 1. It was like.
Yep.
But to me, enough of him. Some side notes. So we were just mentioning Collins for the Hawks. Looks like he's going to be playing game 1 against the Heat. So we're going to definitely see what's going on with that. And, that Ben Simmons stuff. I mean, guys, just, God. Anyway, with that being said, anything else you want to add?
Today, that's all it's going to be.
Right.
I just want to end it with the Ben Simmons, because he truly irks me. I watch the news and I watch NBA news, and every time I see him, it's like, man, this guy is just like playing us, man. He's playing us so hard.
He ain't playing us. He's playing Brooklyn.
And that little
he's
smile
playing Brooklyn.
he has on his face whenever you see him, he just has that little sly smile, like, yeah, I'm getting away with it, and I'm gonna get my $20 million from Philadelphia.
They're not giving him anything. Yeah, they're have to win it in the judgment. But anyway, you can catch our podcast audio on any podcast platform, Google Play, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts,
Spotify.
Spotify, and of course we're on YouTube for our video and audio. So with that being said, we're gonna probably have another show on Tuesday.
Yes.
By then, everyone have played at least one game.
Yes.
And some teams will play 2 games. We'll have some Bulls talk at that point, and any other news that comes in, we'll talk about it. Mainly, it's going to be mostly NBA because the NBA playoffs are going on. Now, the draft is coming up soon for the NFL. So any news with that comes around, any kind of Bears news that's significant, we'll definitely talk about it. Anything with the NFL, we'll talk about it. But mainly, we'll be honest, the next month or two, it's really going to be NBA heavy because this is the time of the NBA. But the playoffs are every day, and so every game is important. So we're going mainly on that. But with that being said, I'm Frank. This is Mike. Thank you for listening, and see you on our next show on Tuesday.
Yep.
Peace.
Thank you.